Well, I've been splicing telephone cable for several years, and when I started, I always thought the gloves were too cumbersome. They impeded my dexterity, and it was just too much trouble to use. But after a few times of hacking up my index finger with multiple cuts that I would recut before they would even heal, I realized that I had to have the gloves. You use a sharp knife that you have to get through the plastic sheathing of the cable and the metal sheathing, and yet you have to be gentle enough not to cut the telephone pairs. So the knife has to be basically a hooked razor knife, and you hit yourself once in the hands with that, and you know you've got you've got a good cut it and go to the bone in no time. So you learn that you just can't do without the gloves. I've had cuts on my hand that I've had maintained for a month at a time just because I recut and that sort of thing. The other thing that you really need is a good pair of shoes. I spend hours on a telephone pole on a pair of hooks, which is basically a metal stirrup about 2 inches wide across the sole of your foot. And long periods of time on that stirrup, I've gotten, without the proper shoes, I've gotten stress fractures in my foot bones just from the time on that one, with pressure on one bone. So you need a shoe with a sole that's basically rigid, preferably steel, that will distribute the weight of the entire foot over the stirrup. The other thing that's pretty important is a steel toe. Anytime you're working with anything heavy or rolling things around, you've got to have the steel toe to protect your toes. You drop something on them once, and I know I've come close to breaking them a couple times, and that's something you remember and appreciate the steel toe for. Other than that, the only thing I really look for is generally somewhat of a high top boot. Spend a lot of time going through brush, bushes, and that sort of thing, and you never know with snakes and that what kind of, between the scratches of the brush and the danger of snakes around, you want that leather up high enough to protect you. But I don't worry with that nearly so much as having the sole and the toe.
Don't reduce me to a sign of your own desire.